The biggest presidential campaign news this week is Trump getting that RFK Jr. endorsement, but that can come with baggage. Does the Trump campaign stand by RFK's many conspiracy theories and COVID disinfo? Well, we just put that question to a current top Trump campaign official who also ran his 2016 campaign, Corey Lewandowski. This was just last night. Here is his answer.
This is it.
Is Donald Trump endorsing RFK Jr.'s vaccine conspiracy theories?
Well, RFK Jr. has been someone who's been very steadfast in making sure that when it comes to the decisions that affect your body, you get to choose.
I asked you, though, about RFK's actual conspiracy theories.
Ari, I'm not here to answer questions for RFK Jr. He's a big man. I think when it comes to RFK, specifically those moms who have young children, they're very concerned about what is being injected into their children, whether it's through the food supply or through these vaccines. And RFK has an opportunity to go out and talk about the fact that he was right. The government should not have had to mandate those. We don't know the full impact of what was mandated by the government on the long-term repercussions that it could potentially cause. So we're very much in line with RFK on that position.
The Trump campaign sounded very open to RFK's stance there, even though he has been fact-checked for baseless conspiracy theories. For Trump, all of this is in tension with his own record as president on the same COVID vaccine. It is something that President Trump touted as amazing. He promoted vaccines as the path out of lockdowns and later said he took the vaccine and also that it was perhaps the greatest thing in centuries.
This is a very successful, amazing vaccine.
It's a great vaccine. It's a safe vaccine, and it's something that works.
I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccine.
Some say it's the greatest thing to happen in hundreds of years.
Trump and now his aides running from Trump's record. Now, I also pressed Corey Lewandowski about a falsehood that he made the very last time he's actually ever been on this program in 2019 on The Beat. We asked about reports that Donald Trump was interfering with the DOJ probe through Lewandowski. This was back in the Mueller era. Now, it was very newsworthy. That's not my opinion, but the Congress of the United States used that interview as evidence, pressing Lewandowski and forced him under oath, where you can get in a lot of trouble for lying. It can become actually an offense. Under oath, he admitted that he wasn't being truthful and claimed he had no obligation to be honest when he speaks to the media on behalf of Donald Trump, who was then president. Now, last night, we gave him the chance to address that. Instead, he dodged questions and deflected.
I don't ever remember the president ever asking me to get involved with Jeff Sessions or the Department of Justice in any way, shape, or form ever.
That wasn't true, was it, sir?
I heard that.
And that was not true, was it?
I have no obligation to be honest with the media because they're just as dishonest as anybody else. Perhaps I was inaccurate at that time.
Do you admit that you were stating that falsely at the time?
Ari, listen, here's the deal, man.
If you admit under oath that you were not telling the truth, it is relevant now, and now you seem to be unable to address that.
Ari, listen, we've been down this path, okay?
Well, we haven't. This is your first time back since
Ari,
the path.
Ari, that interview was almost 5 years ago to the day, to be very honest with you.
This is now your chance to address this, and you're not addressing it. That's fine. We gave him the chance, and he is the current representative of Donald Trump's campaign. That's what it looks like when you're caught lying, Corey Lewandowski. That's what it sounds like when you're caught lying, Corey Lewandowski. And liars have a way of trying to deflect and run and dodge and do anything other than deal with the fact that he was caught lying. And it would be easy for someone to hear what he said and think, I guess it was a long time ago and maybe we move on, but that's the strategy. So you have to decide whether you're going to let them get away with it. In many of these legal probes, they delay, deny, run, and if finally caught or under the pressure of subpoena, some of them show up. And when he showed up, he had to admit, as you saw there under oath, that he was not honest when asked about that very relevant question about whether Trump was using him to interfere with a DOJ probe. In other words, a big important thing, not some random item. Now, last night we gave Mr. Lewandowski plenty of time to discuss the campaign and other issues. When we got to that one, well, you saw he just couldn't answer the question. He couldn't deal with it. He couldn't deal with perhaps knowing also that Donald Trump is known to watch these television interviews. And here he was on live TV, unable to account for getting caught lying before. Now, again, if anyone has any questions or any doubt, here is the moment when the lawyer in Congress pressed Lewandowski and he had to admit he did not tell the truth.
That wasn't true, was it, sir?
I heard that.
And that was not true, was it?
I have no obligation to be honest with the media just because they're just as dishonest as anybody else.
So
Perhaps I was inaccurate at that time.
Apparently, that is a forum where you will get a direct and even honest answer from Mr. Lewandowski under oath, where lying to Congress is a crime, where since then other Trump aides have actually gone to federal prison for issues related to misleading Congress and or, in the case of two of them in the Jan 6 probe, just not showing up at all to do what he did, to cooperate. In that forum, you get the answer. He says he's not honest with the media and he doesn't see it as an obligation. That's the representative of the Trump campaign. People can take that and make up their own mind about it. That's our fact check.